Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about the VGAs. Very exciting. There is a lot that could possibly happen at the VGAs. So I kind of in a way feel bad sort of about how I've been pushing this Scorpion and Smash thing so often and like exclusively. But I think most people understand that there is something to be said there, that there is an argument, and it comes from somewhere. Um, and so for those of you who aren't keeping up, who aren't like laser focused on Smash speculation lately, a lot of stuff has happened regarding Fighter number 5 and, and the VGAs. It got crazy. It started off with a leaker named Sabi, and then another leaker, Vergeben. If you remember Vergeben, he or they, I think it's a group of people, they got some stuff right about main roster, and they knew about Hero from Dragon Quest, well, Erdrick, which was still correct. They knew about that well in advance, and that was great. But Vergeben seems to not know much as of late. Not that they don't know anything at all, or that they don't know anything right now, but that's the way it seems. I bring this up because at one point, Verge, I'm going to just refer to them as Verge deconfirmed Scorpion as fighter number 5, which I was like, oh man, that sucks. But they did go on to deconfirm a ton of characters, but what happened was they backtracked, and then later on it was kind of discovered that that leaked list, that list of deconfirmed characters was not actually correct, which in turn brought Scorpion back from the dead and made him possible for number 5 again. And then Sabi, apparently we can trust Sabi because Sabi has a source who may know who fighter number 5 is, and apparently the source is credible. Right now we don't know who it is, but people who I trust say that the source is trustworthy, and that's Sabi's source. So we can say that Sabi's source is probably okay. Okay, now that's a lot of technical stuff to get out of the way. Let's get back into how I feel. So this time last year, I actually made a video, and it's really funny looking back on that video and that time because, we didn't know. Well, Mortal Kombat 11 didn't exist yet. We didn't know that was happening. We didn't know if Smash DLC was going to be revealed or not, at the VGAs. We had no idea. And so my prediction was Smash DLC, Mortal Kombat 11 reveal, and then Scorpion and Smash. But that didn't happen, although both of those things happened, but it wasn't Scorpion in Smash. But I've come to terms with the fact that, I think that would have been a bad thing to do because that would have overshadowed MK11's reveal. It would have put too much attention on Smash and not enough on their big game releasing. So, or I don't know, or maybe it would have done just fine for them. I don't know. Because then if Scorpion was fighter number 1, he would have released in April, which is when MK11 released, which that wouldn't have been good. But right now in December, I think it's probably a good time to reveal and release Scorpion. We're kind of far away from the next MK11 character. That's going to be Joker, and that's at the end of January. So we're nowhere near that dude. So reveal and release this month would probably work pretty well. But anyway, let me get into the meat of things. So, how do I feel this time? So right now, we nobody knows. Nobody knows who this is going to be. And I feel strongly that the VGAs have this locked down, that nobody actually knows who this character is going to be. And I want to bring up a couple of things. So, back when I made some of my other Scorpion and Smash videos, I noticed that WB Games and Nintendo seemingly are starting to build up a bit of a relationship. One kind of out of the clear blue. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they never did anything, all that much. It kind of started... It definitely started with the very odd way that WB handled revealing MK11. They took their working formula and they changed it. They usually reveal their game and then a year later it comes out. But this time they decided to cut out 6 months. Well, more like 11 months. They reveal it in like June and then it releases in like April, May, I guess. But it's still basically a year. But this time they decided to cut out 6 entire months, and I thought that was so weird, and it definitely was not a good thing from the fans' perspective. We were just left in this crazy void of what the hell's going on? Where's our next game? And Injustice 2, people were not really happy with the way Injustice 2 was going. I know I've talked about this before, but I just want to bring it up again really quick. So basically, summarize it. I don't feel like WB marketed the game the way they really wanted to. I think they had to make some changes. Why is that? Because to not get in the way of the marketing of Smash Ultimate, they probably had a lot of contractual obligations to follow. But that's the old news, and I've talked about that in the past. What's the new stuff here? What is sort of the new stuff that... What's my new evidence? Well, strangely enough, The Witcher 3 has come to the Nintendo Switch. So you're probably saying, wait. What the hell does The Witcher 3 have to do with Scorpion and Smash, WB? What does that do with any of it? Well, here's a number of things. Now, WB Games actually publishes The Witcher 3. It is developed by CD Projekt Red, but it is published by WB Games. Now, what exactly does that mean? That means, as far as I know, they handle sort of the budget, they handle releasing, they handle the marketing, and here's a condensed thing about The Witcher 3. They didn't need to release this game on the Switch. It has no business being on the Switch. It's like one of the best looking games ever. I remember Digital Foundry talked about how when they saw the leaked list, they tried recreating a version of Witcher 3 that would possibly work on the Switch, and they kind of came to the conclusion that it seems very difficult, almost near impossible. But shortly after, revealed at E3, The Witcher 3 on Switch, and I have the game and I've been playing it, and it's fantastic. It's this humongous open world game that's playable on the Switch. It's incredible. But you got to ask yourself, why would they put in all this effort? Recently there was an article that talked to the developers and said they worked for over a year to port this game to the Switch. You have to... Well, why? Well, why would they do that? Is it to generate more sales? Well, I'm pretty sure the game already sold like a shitload. I don't know if this actually needed to happen. Why not port the first game? Or the second game? Why the third one? Why the most difficult one to do? But on top of that, the big thing is this. Most games released on the Switch have constricted file size. That's why sort of a lot of games aren't coming out on the Switch, because they would have to put their games on a bigger cartridge, which is more expensive to release. But The Witcher 3 is releasing their game on the 32 gigabyte cartridge that is more expensive for them to release their game on, but they're doing it anyway. And not only that, it comes with all the DLC, so it is the complete full version, which is fine. I mean, every re-release contains all the DLC usually, but they didn't need to do that. They could have resold it, right? But not only that, the standard edition gets you a box that comes with like some stickers. It comes with a couple of collectible things. I think it comes with like, I forget, I feel bad, like a pin or something. But it comes with all this extra stuff, and you just have to wonder, why? Why are they doing this? You don't need to do this. You don't need to do this at all. But they did it anyway. And why is that? My conclusion is I think Nintendo wants to make the Switch look better by having WB, who has a lot of really good looking games, having WB put in the effort to release a lot of their really good looking games and make the extra effort to port it to the Switch, just so they can show the other developers who don't want to port their game to Switch because it's, too hard, quote unquote, or the Switch can't handle our games, to show that that's basically bogus. And what does WB get out of that? Well, for all their hard work, they get some extra sales by putting their games on the Switch. But what's the end game? I think it's having a character show up in Smash for WB. And the only character that can is like that. Well, there's like Scribblenauts, I think. But most of the games they create are based on, a comic book or a movie or a book, like a novel. Scorpion or Sub-Zero or both is really sort of the only one they can pick from. And I feel it makes the most sense. Our last DLC character was Terry Bogard from Fatal Fury, another classic fighting game series. And why not? Why not just keep it going? The fighting game community is already paying attention because Terry is very specifically a fighting game community character. So why not just do another one, right? Right after. They're already paying attention, so it's like, if you guys know Maximilian Dude, he is like the fighting game creator, and he has made a lot of videos on King of Fighters and Fatal Fury, and he recently did like a Terry Terry series where he just played like all the games and he did all that. And he's also a Mortal Kombat creator, probably the biggest Mortal Kombat creator on the platform, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but he's up there. He's at least like top 5, I believe, top 3. And these two characters would cater to somebody like that specifically, Scorpion or Sub-Zero, which he's actually mentioned the fact that he thinks it's possible that Sub-Zero could get in based on, the fact that MK11's on the Switch, the fact that, that they just have this relationship at all. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. The weirdest damn thing ever. The last thing I'm going to say about what I'm currently saying. The weirdest thing literally ever. Daemon Ex Machina, which is this robot fighting game that Nintendo published, got DLC in a crossover with The Witcher 3. Yeah, like this futuristic robot fighting game got a crossover with The Witcher 3, where you can play as Geralt and Geralt's sister Cirilla, or Ciri as they call her. Like, what in the world? What is the point of that, right? But it just goes to further. I think they have a relationship. Obviously, since Nintendo publishes that game, they probably are the ones that are making decisions like that. Like, hey, would you like to cross over with a third-party company? That's probably their decision. Or it's the developer's decision and Nintendo has to, like, approve it. But how does that conversation even start? Hey, can we get a fantasy character to show up, like an old-timey fantasy magic character in our futuristic giant robot game? It's like, can't you get like Optimus Prime or something? Or like Bumblebee, something that actually like makes sense? Why Geralt? But it just goes to further what I believe here, and is that I think WB and Nintendo is starting, well, not even starting, they're about a year or two into this gaming relationship that they've created. But the thing is that if they start doing too much WB crossover stuff, it's going to get suspicious, obviously. It's eventually going to start getting suspicious. So I think right now, if Scorpion is the character, it's time. I've been saying it's time. But what's funny is that Terry Bogard is actually, fighting game community character, and he was revealed like right after Evo. So even though I did say that Evo was the right time for Scorpion, well, it could have been, but this still is a pretty good time, as I said last year. It's Evo or VGAs. Those are the best times to do it. And this goes for next year. If Scorpion doesn't show up this time, there's still next Evo, and then there's still the next VGAs after that, for Scorpion too. I'm gonna still put that out there. Those are still the best times to reveal this character. Yeah, so let me dive in a little more specifically now into what I think is gonna happen. So I believe that I have some suspicions about Disney as well. And Disney actually, of course, their character would be Sora from Kingdom Hearts. But I'm going to get to that in a second. So, what exactly is going to happen? I think Scorpion... Well, I have this theory that that I think they're going to do Scorpion and Sub-Zero, where I think they're going to be like slight echoes. Well, basically all of their basic moves, all of the moves that include the pressing of the button A, their jumps, their running. I think that's all going to be the same, but where they're going to differ is their special moves, everything involving pressing the B button, their recovery, side B, down B, all that. Obviously, Scorpion, I think, would probably run a little faster than Sub-Zero, of course. And yeah, I think that'd be an incredibly easy way for Sakurai and the team to make one character and then just make two slightly different characters out of it. It's funny how easy that is too. That's literally all they need to do. They need to make one character, and then they just need to make them have different special moves. I don't think it would be that hard, really, and that's really all they need to do. But so here's like the meat and potatoes. Here's like my big thing here. So last VGAs, WB, Jeff Keighley came out and said that they planned with WB and NetherRealm 6 months in advance for the reveal to go properly. 6 months. And the thing is, it did not leak. It did not leak. We had no clue. I mean, we had suspicions that it would be there because we obviously were waiting way too long for the next game, and it just seemed like the perfect time. And then you know what happened. But what else? Smash's DLC. Also, Nintendo trusted the VGAs to reveal their character without it leaking, and what do you know? Joker from Persona, that did not leak at all. No leaking happened. It was a complete and total surprise. So what do I think? Should Nintendo and WB come together? If WB and Nintendo have to come to an agreement and say, what's the best place to reveal our character? Don't you think both would pretty unanimously think, yeah, probably the VGAs, because we don't want our surprise to get leaked in advance, and to think what's the best place for them both to consider a non-leaking presentation? That's going to be the VGAs. So, yeah. So yeah, I think that's just about everything I wanted to say about this. About Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I just think it's inevitable. A lot of people still throw at me that MK11 is banned in Japan. But recently, Nintendo has come out and said that they actually oppose that law, the censorship law in Japan. They actually oppose it, and they said that, well, they were referring more to adult like content, like nudity. Like Sakurai has talked in the past how they really monitor how they deal with like women, like women's clothing. That the character Mai, who has large breasts, they just outright didn't include her because they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to deal with the censorship, and the people at the ratings, like trying to go, hey, you can't do that, can't do this, it's got to be this way, can't be that way. It's got to be this way. They just cut her outright and just said, yeah, you know what? We just don't want to deal with it. So she's not for good boys and girls. The historic classic line that she's not for good boys and girls. So, yeah, Nintendo has come out and said they oppose that law, and yeah, I don't see it to be unreasonable that Scorpion and Sub-Zero would show up. This brings me back though actually to the release of MK11. Nintendo said this very nice tweet, how they said, congrats to the team at Mortal Kombat 11. They said that MK11 is the perfect fit for the Switch. And it's like, why would you say that? It's like, why are you saying that, right? And, well, it's like, of course you wish the developers, of course you wish the developers that they did a good job and all that. But it's just like, they didn't need to say that, right? And then I remember they put one of the MK11's image. MK11 was putting out images of their characters with like one word, and Nintendo actually posted one of Cassie Cage, and it said the word approval. Now I read like so far into that, I'm like, what does that mean? Approval? Like, we approve of your franchise? It's like, for people to say MK11 is banned in Japan, therefore can't show up in a Nintendo game. Well, it's like Nintendo is fine with Mortal Kombat. They're fine with it. People keep saying to me, it's like, why would they release this character that's not in Japan in a Japanese game? Well, it's like, it's a game that releases across the entire world. Right? Terry Bogard doesn't, I forget exactly where in the world he targets, but it's not America or Japan. He still got in. Banjo is like a mostly American character. He still got in. Apparently the Japanese don't really care about Ridley. He still got in. And Sakurai recently said when they first put in Samus, they went, who's that? It's like it's a worldwide game. And Scorpion's one of the most iconic. Like, think about what you want about Scorpion and Get Over Here. That's like one of the most. That's like top 5 most iconic, like, things ever, in video gaming. Right. So maybe it was probably, I think it was a lot bigger on the internet like 10 years ago, and of course it died down a little bit. But Scorpion and Get Over Here and Sub-Zero and his slide and the rivalry, I mean, it's legendary. Everybody knows who this is. Every gamer, they know who they are. And I think everybody would secretly, deep down, I think it's the type of thing, and Nintendo does this a lot. Nintendo likes to reveal things that you didn't know you want, but then once you see it, you're like, oh, like, I totally actually wanted this. Like when they revealed the Switch, do you think if they came up to you and said, hey, we're going to do a console that's also a handheld, you want that? I think they would go, I think most people would go, nah, I don't know, man. It doesn't seem too cool, man. It seems like a kid thing. Looks like a 3DS you play on a TV. They really specialize in things that it's like, you don't know you want this, but you really do. And I feel like the consensus is this. Most people don't think it's going to happen just because that's what their expectation is. But do they actually want it? I think most people do. So there's your formula. And Nintendo, I have a philosophy about Nintendo. I think they understand everything. There's this thought that they're like boomers, and that they don't understand gaming or the internet. Obviously they do. Okay? They just want to make the most money they can while being high quality. And Disney runs into this problem too, I feel. I feel like they try to make the highest quality product they can, but then they also sometimes cut some corners because you still need to make like large profits. And Nintendo has been very good at this. That's why their online subscription is trash. It's free money. We're just giving them money for not doing anything. And it's a smart business move. It really is. It's like it cripples the experience. You can't play Pokemon online, can't play Smash online, can't play anything online unless you give us money for something you used to be able to do for free. You know, it's a good business move. And that's what they're good at. And so I just wanted to dismantle that opinion that Nintendo like doesn't understand gaming or the internet because they're like boomers or something. They obviously understand the internet. They're making, in fact, I think they actually use that to their advantage. I think they pretend like they don't know what's going on just so that we can go, oh, they just don't know what's happening. They're not making the right decisions. No, I'm like pretty sure they know exactly what they're doing. You know, if they didn't know what they were doing, then why would they make so many fantastic products? You know, you ever think about that? It's like they've released like 30 of the best games ever made, and they're like one company. You know, they've released like anywhere from 20 to 30 of like the greatest games ever created. No other company can say that. Yeah, the Sony, Microsoft, no one else can say that. But let me wrap it up now, because I guess I'm starting to ramble. But yeah, I really think Scorpion will be Smash DLC. Will he be at the VGAs? I personally feel it makes the most sense. I feel like WB and Nintendo have a relationship. Now, let me add one quick thing. It's possible they could be doing Mortal Kombat Spirits. I mean, they did it with Resident Evil, and that's a horror series. Maybe this is the best it's going to go. Just Spirits. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, really. But WB is not a company yet represented. But then it's like neither is Ubisoft, neither is Way Forward. That's Shantae and Rayman. So maybe they'll just do Mortal Kombat Spirits, and maybe that's the big thing. You know, who knows? Even though I feel like they would work much better as characters, given how massive they are. So that's pretty much it. It just boils down to nobody knows who the character is, nobody knows who to expect. And I just feel like I've noticed all these things, and I just feel like that's the logical conclusion I can come to. It's a surprise. It would be very positive. I think everybody would think it's cool, and it represents a gigantic franchise that's relevant right now and ongoing. So, yeah, that's how I feel. I hope that was a good argument, and just kind of wanted to get out all the thoughts I have. So, thank you for watching. Yeah, VGAs are coming tomorrow. So I got to get this video out, actually, so that more than 2 people will see it before the VGAs actually happen. Alright, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Keep on fighting. Have a fantastic day.